The ancient castle of Elder Grove loomed atop its craggy perch, an imposing silhouette against the brooding sky. Its stone walls, weathered by centuries of wind and rain, whispered secrets of forgotten battles and the valor of knights long gone. Legend spoke of the castle being haunted, not by malevolent spirits, but by the noble souls of warriors who had perished defending their homeland. These guardians were said to rise from the shadows at dusk, their ethereal forms gliding silently through the halls, protecting the relics of their past. On this fateful day, the serene air was shattered by the distant hum of alien spacecraft cutting through the clouds like a knife. The Croth, a ruthless race known for their unquenchable thirst for knowledge and power, had set their sights on Earth. Led by General Vorax, a towering figure with metallic plating glinting ominously in the sunlight, the Croth descended upon Elder Grove, eager to unlock its secrets. Vorax was a seasoned strategist, feared across galaxies for his relentless ambition and cunning. His piercing, reptilian eyes surveyed the landscape as the ships hovered just above the castle's formidable ramparts. "Prepare the ground troops," Vorax commanded, his voice a low growl that resonated throughout the ship. "This castle holds the key to ancient Earth knowledge. We will seize it for the Galactic Empire." Below, a cadre of Croth warriors, clad in obsidian armor, emerged from the belly of the ships, their advanced weaponry gleaming menacingly. Each soldier was equipped with plasma rifles and energy shields, ready to dismantle any defense that stood in their way. As they advanced toward the castle, Vorax remained aboard the flagship, orchestrating the invasion with the cold precision of a master puppeteer. Meanwhile, deep within the stone confines of Elder Grove, a palpable unease stirred. Lord Eamon, the last surviving knight of the castle's ancient order, stood at the grand window overlooking the valley. With silver-streaked hair and a weathered face, he embodied the weight of centuries of guardianship. His heart raced as he sensed the disturbance in the air, a sensation that foretold of impending doom. The spirits of his fallen brothers were restless, and he could feel their energy coursing through the castle, ready to awaken. "We must prepare," Eamon muttered to himself, gripping the hilt of his sword, a relic that had been passed down through generations. "The Croth will not take our home without a fight." As he descended into the castle's depths, the stones beneath his feet seemed to pulse with life. The very walls responded to his resolve, and with each step, echoes of the past reverberated in his mind. The spirits of ancient warriors and sorcerers were tethered to this land, their duty unfulfilled. Eamon reached the Chamber of Shadows, a sacred place adorned with runes that glowed faintly, the air thick with the scent of aged parchment and dust. "Awaken," he bellowed, calling upon the spirits bound to Elder Grove. "The Croth invade our sanctuary. Rise and defend your legacy." In an instant the air crackled with energy. Wisps of spectral light materialized, coalescing into the forms of knights in armor, their faces stern and resolute. Among them Sir Cedric, a legendary warrior known for his unparalleled valor, emerged. He raised his sword high, its blade shimmering with a ghostly hue, a beacon of hope for the living. "Eamon, we hear your call," Cedric's voice resonated, echoing as if from the very fabric of time. "The time has come to defend our home once more. The Croth will learn the price of trespassing upon sacred ground." As the spirits rallied, Eamon felt a surge of determination. He was no longer just a guardian. He was the beacon of resistance. The bond between the living and the dead strengthened, and the castle began to stir with ancient magic. The very stones seemed to respond, vibrating with the urgency of their plight. Outside, the Croth soldiers advanced, confident and reckless. Their technology had never failed them, and they were oblivious to the supernatural guardians that awaited them. Vorax watched with satisfaction as his troops approached the castle gates, the imposing structure now just a target waiting to be conquered. "Prepare to breach the defenses," he commanded, his voice laced with anticipation. "Let nothing stand in our way." As the aliens unleashed a barrage of energy blasts against the castle walls, Eamon and his spectral allies watched from the ramparts. The ancient fortifications trembled under the onslaught, but they held firm. With a nod from Eamon, the spirits began to weave spells of protection, their energies intertwining with the castle's defenses. Ethereal shields formed, shimmering barriers that absorbed the alien fire, reflecting it back like a tempestuous sea. "This is our home," Eamon shouted, raising his sword. "We shall not yield." The spirits surged forward, gliding down the castle walls like wisps of smoke, ready to engage the invaders. The air crackled with anticipation as the Croth prepared to enter the castle, unaware of the fate that awaited them. The clash of worlds was imminent, and as the first Croth crossed the threshold, the haunted castle of Eldergrove would unleash its secrets, and the ghostly protectors would rise to defend their heritage, igniting a battle that would echo through the annals of history. The moment the Croth breached the threshold of Eldergrove, a chilling stillness enveloped the castle. Vorax, confident in his overwhelming firepower, led the charge, the alien warriors following close behind. Their armored boots echoed ominously on the ancient stone floors as they advanced into the dimly lit corridors, illuminated only by the faint glow of enchanted sconces. Eamon stood resolute atop the castle ramparts, watching the chaos unfold below. His heart raced as the Croth flooded into the castle, their technological superiority stark against the weathered relics of human craftsmanship. Yet he knew they were not alone. The spirits of the castle, loyal guardians of their ancestral home, coalesced around him, their ethereal forms shimmering like candle flames caught in a breeze. "Sir Cedric," Eamon called, seeking the legendary knight amidst the swirling phantoms. "What strategies do you propose against our invaders?" Cedric stepped forward, his translucent armor gleaming. "We must use their arrogance against them. They believe they are unstoppable, but they do not understand the power of this place. Let us harness the castle's magic to confound them." With a firm nod, Eamon turned his gaze back to the Croth. The aliens had begun their systematic search, confident in their numbers but oblivious to the castle's true defenses. As they moved deeper into the heart of Eldergrove, the spirits prepared to unleash their wrath. "Let the spirits rise," Eamon commanded. The air crackled with energy as the spectral warriors surged forward, their ghostly forms weaving in and out of the shadows, setting the stage for an ethereal ambush. As the first wave of Croth entered the great hall, they were met with a sudden onslaught of spectral energy. Cedric led the charge, his sword gleaming with an otherworldly light. The moment he struck, a surge of magical force erupted, knocking back the nearest alien soldiers, their cries of confusion echoing in the vast chamber. "Foolish creatures," Vorax growled, regaining his composure as he witnessed his troops falter. "Form ranks. We cannot let these phantoms deter us." But the Croth were not prepared for the chaotic brilliance of the castle's magic. Eamon and the spirits summoned ancient curses, ethereal winds swirling through the hall, causing the walls to vibrate with an unearthly resonance. The very stones of Eldergrove seemed alive, responding to the defenders' will. One by one the Croth fell victim to their own hubris. An alien warrior raised his plasma rifle, only for it to fizzle and sputter, overwhelmed by the castle's protective wards. The spirits descended upon them, their swords piercing through alien armor as if it were mere fabric. "Advance!" Vorax roared, frustration seeping into his voice. He activated a beacon on his wrist, summoning reinforcements from the ship. "We will take this castle no matter the cost." Outside, more Croth vessels descended, their shadows darkening the battleground. Eamon's heart sank as he saw the reinforcements approaching, realizing that time was against them. He summoned the spirits for another rallying charge. "Form a barrier," Eamon shouted. "Protect the castle from their reinforcements." As the spirits obeyed, a shimmering wall of energy materialized before the oncoming Croth. They crashed into it, their ranks disoriented by the sudden, impenetrable barrier. Eamon seized the moment, leading a counterattack alongside Cedric and the other spectral warriors. The battle raged on, a cacophony of alien weaponry clashing with spectral might. Eamon fought with the ferocity of a knight possessed, his sword flashing as he struck down Croth after Croth. Each alien that fell seemed to embolden the spirits, their energy replenished by the defenders' growing resolve. "Feel the weight of your trespass," Cedric shouted, his voice echoing like thunder as he cleaved through another Croth soldier. The once proud aliens began to falter, fear creeping into their ranks as the reality of their situation set in. But Vorax would not be deterred. He activated a device on his arm, and a holographic map of the castle sprang to life. "We will not lose to ghosts," he declared. "Target their energy sources. Disable their magic." With ruthless efficiency, the Croth began to identify the glowing sigils around the hall, ripping them from the walls and causing bursts of magical energy to erupt violently. The castle shuddered and Eamon felt a twinge of panic. Their sanctuary was under siege. "Hold the line," Eamon cried out, his voice breaking through the din of battle. "We must protect the heart of Eldergrove." As the Croth pressed forward, a new wave of spirits joined the fray, their ancient battle cries reverberating through the hall. These were the strongest guardians, summoned from the deepest corners of the castle, their very essence intertwined with the fabric of Eldergrove. With their combined might, Eamon and the spirits launched one final offensive. The air thickened with energy, and the spirits coalesced into a radiant force. The Croth, realizing too late the power they faced, were engulfed in the wrath of the defenders. In a blinding flash, the Croth were sent reeling, their ranks shattered as they struggled to maintain control amidst the chaotic storm of energy. Vorax, witnessing his troops falter, clenched his fists in rage. The tide of battle had shifted dramatically, and he refused to accept defeat. Retreat is not an option, he roared, rallying his remaining soldiers. We will take this castle or we will die trying. As the spirits surged forward, Eamon felt the weight of his ancestors behind him, their strength fueling his resolve. He raised his sword high, determined to defend Eldergrove at all costs. The battle was far from over, and as long as the spirits stood, hope remained. The great hall of Eldergrove had transformed into a battlefield, where echoes of war reverberated through stone and spirit. Eamon stood at the forefront, his breath heavy with the weight of the ongoing conflict. The air shimmered with the remnants of magic, and the lingering forms of ancient warriors swirled around him, preparing for what could be the decisive clash against the Croth. Vorax, undeterred by the mounting losses among his ranks, rallied his remaining soldiers. With their morale shaken, the Croth had retreated to regroup, steeling themselves for a final assault. Eamon could see the desperation in their eyes, a reflection of the stubborn pride that had driven them to invade a place steeped in Earth's history and magic. Hold steady, Eamon commanded, looking into the spectral faces of Cedric and the other warriors. We fight not just for the castle but for the legacy it represents. We will not let them tarnish our home. Let them come, Cedric replied, his voice resonant with conviction. They know not the fury of those who have fought and died for this land. As if on cue, the ground trembled beneath their feet, heralding the Croth's renewed charge. Vorax led the attack, his armor gleaming ominously, his presence a dark promise of destruction. This ends now, he shouted, rallying his troops with a fierce glare. Destroy their magic. Take the castle. The Croth surged forward, weapons primed and plasma rifles at the ready. Eamon felt the castle's pulse quicken, its ancient stones resonating with the call of the spirits. He raised his sword, feeling its weight and the energy flowing through it, a conduit between the living and the departed. As the Croth breached the threshold of the great hall once more, Eamon surged forward, channeling all his will into the magic of Eldergrove. The spirits responded, their forms coalescing into a massive wave of energy that surged to meet the alien invaders. By the power of this ancient ground we will drive you back, Eamon cried as the wave crashed into the Croth ranks. The force of the spirits sent aliens sprawling, their cries of shock intermingling with the howls of the phantoms. Vorax, realizing his forces were faltering, activated the hidden weaponry on his armor, a dazzling array of energy blasts surging toward Eamon. You think you can defend this castle? You are merely shadows. Eamon sidestepped, deflecting the energy with a flick of his wrist, channeling it back into the battlefield, causing explosions that sent Croth soldiers flying. The air filled with the acrid scent of burning metal and the anguished cries of the wounded, each blast lighting the hall like fireworks in a darkened sky. As the combat intensified, Eamon caught a glimpse of a relic mounted on the wall, a long-forgotten sword that pulsed with a faint glow. It was the blade of Eldergrove, rumored to hold the essence of the castle's magic. If he could wield it, perhaps he could turn the tide definitively. Cedric? Eamon shouted, motioning toward the sword. Cover me. I will retrieve the blade. Go. Cedric commanded, rallying the spirits to form a protective barrier around Eamon as he dashed toward the wall. The Croth were relentless, their blasts ripping through the air, but the spirits enveloped Eamon in a shimmering shield. Eamon reached the sword and grasped its hilt, feeling a surge of power flow through him. As he pulled it free from its mount, an incandescent light enveloped him, merging the energy of the castle with his own. The spirits howled in approval, their ethereal forms dancing around him, invigorated by the relic's magic. With the blade of Eldergrove in hand, Eamon turned to face the advancing Croth. Now let us end this, he bellowed, his voice resonating with newfound strength. He charged into battle, the blade slicing through the air like a comet, radiant light trailing behind it. Vorax, witnessing the resurgence of his enemy, snarled in frustration. You think that sword can save you? We are more than mere flesh. We are the future. Eamon met Vorax's gaze, determination etched on his face. You are mistaken. This is not merely about flesh or technology. This is about legacy and you have no place here. The two clashed in a storm of energy and steel, Eamon's blade meeting Vorax's armored fist. The impact sent shockwaves through the hall, the walls vibrating with the force of their struggle. Eamon pressed forward, the magic of the blade enhancing his strikes, pushing Vorax back inch by inch. Meanwhile, Cedric and the other spirits fended off the remaining Croth soldiers, their ethereal weapons flashing as they cut through the aliens with a grace that defied the chaos surrounding them. Each phantom warrior fought with the resolve of those who had once walked the earth, defending their home with fervor. Eamon's breath quickened as he felt the tide of battle shifting. With each strike he could feel the Croth's confidence wavering, their resolve cracking. He summoned the spirit of a long-lost knight, his voice joining with the whispers of the ancients, bolstering Eamon's strength. Push through, Eamon. Channel their legacy. With renewed vigor, Eamon swung the blade of Eldergrove with precision and power, breaking Vorax's defenses. The alien commander stumbled, panic flickering in his eyes as he realized he was on the verge of defeat. Retreat. We must retreat, he roared, but it was too late. With one final strike, Eamon plunged the blade deep into Vorax's chest, a burst of light erupting from the point of contact. The energy surged, engulfing Vorax and the Croth in a blinding radiance. Their bodies disintegrated into wisps of smoke, banished from Eldergrove, never to threaten its sanctity again. As silence fell over the great hall, Eamon stood amid the remnants of battle, breathless and awash in the glow of victory. The spirits of the castle circled him, their forms shimmering in approval. Cedric approached, placing a spectral hand on Eamon's shoulder. You have done it, Eamon. Eldergrove is safe. Eamon looked around at the battle-scarred hall, the weight of the victory settling over him. For now, but we must remain vigilant. They may return. But they will not find the same castle again, Cedric replied, pride evident in his voice. As long as we stand guard, we shall protect what is ours. As the spirits began to fade, merging with the walls of Eldergrove, Eamon felt their presence forever etched in his heart. The castle had stood for centuries, and now, with the blade of Eldergrove in hand, he vowed to continue the legacy of protection, ensuring that the history of his ancestors would remain undisturbed.